A very good evening to you. Welcome to Try Time. My name is Carol Kamanda. Now we're going to talk about all matters of rugby. We have so much to talk about tonight. We have the Sevens, we have the Kenya Cup. And remember that we're not locking you out. If you want to join us, you can use our social media handles that will appear at the bottom of your screen. And tell us anything you think about our boys in Canada this weekend. Tell us what you think about the Kenya Cup. Or if you want to just say hi to us, of course, that is also welcome. Yeah. Now, let me introduce my guests. Benjamin Ayimba.
Thank you very much, Asante.
Lavina Sego.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming. You guys are looking dapper.
I mean, it's without even trying.
Yeah,
yeah.
You know, it's
You're
this
not
one
even trying.
default settings.
Yeah, it's default settings.
Default settings.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Amazing, amazing. Yeah. All right, so let's get straight into it. We'll start with Impala playing Blackblad. They won 48-19. This was not a particularly easy week for Impala.
Yes, it's Blackblad, of course, being the team that it is. We saw a fortnight ago them beating Harlequins, and that gave them a lot of confidence. And Impala have not been particularly stringing in good wins along the way. They had a good performance the previous week, but again, they have a really seesaw performance. So it's not something they can be confident and say they've been consistent enough. And Blackblad are definitely looking to clean the scalp. So I don't know. I think it is one game that Blackblad thought they would
get
claim
something.
a scalp of. Yeah. But for Impala also, two wins in a row, and that was a solid win. Yeah. I think they got a bonus point. Yeah. That's a good plus to them.
Yeah.
Impala, obviously, because of the demise of Richard, they've had a pretty tough week, and it's been tough for them as a rugby team and also for the rugby fraternity. So definitely this was a must win for them because they really wanted to play well and honor Richard.
Yes.
So it was a good win for them. Watching this game, I thought based on the fact that Blackblad have been giving teams a run for their money, it would be much closer. But Impala were very clinical. In the first half, they started a bit helter-skelter, if I may use that term, which fell perfectly into Blackblad's game plan. But towards the second half, they had a bit more composure. Of course, Samson and Somo at the number 9 position, stringing the passes. I still have a bit of reservations about keeping a teach at 10. Because there's one or two kicks that didn't work for them. And going forward, especially into the playoffs, you really need these kicks to find touch. But all in all, I think it's a good win for Impala. It's good to see Billy back at number 13. Yeah, a very promising young man, but unfortunately he's been dogged with injuries. Hopefully he can stay injury-free for the rest of the campaign. You see there Blackblad winger who we've talked about several times. Even when Blackblad are not having the best of times in the office, he always seems to spark magic. Whenever he catches the ball. Yeah. But definitely good win for Impala, and it puts them in strong contention in the playoff spots.
I mean, they're fifth now.
Yes,
they're fifth now.
Yes,
are they keeping their top 6 status? Do you see them doing that?
It's still very fluid because if you look at 3, 4, and 5, they're very close. Yeah. And then, yes, 5 and 6 are quite close too. Yeah. But I think 7th is a bit too far now.
No, 7th is close. I think the gap.
7th to 8.
Yes,
7th to 8, then there's a problem. But it will still be fluid between 3 and 6, 3 and 5, and 6 and 7.
But definitely good position for Impala. That's where you want to be. If you're fighting for those positions, it's always good to fight from the top as opposed to fighting from the bottom trying to catch up.
And with the points they got this week as well, that helps with the tally because they've been doing really badly on the points tally. So if you look up there now, they're now at they're still at negative. Is that them?
Yeah, that's them.
Yeah.
But at least
that's
they're
negative 28.
Yes.
But they're fifth. They're fifth with that's in 33 and 33. Wow, they're still.
That's very tight.
Yes, 6 and 7 is very tight.
Still, yes. Yeah. And Homeboyz miracles have got to happen for them to join that group. So it's a bit of a tussle.
It is.
Yeah. But at least it's a good win for Impala, and Coach Oscar Series is very, very happy this time round. And it's good momentum for them going forward.
Yeah, now let's have a listen to what the coaches had to say after this game.
Yeah, we didn't have a very good first half. A lot of errors from our boys, which is a usual mistake that we made. That we make, and they never just seem to correct that in the games. Yeah, most of the ball that we had territory in the first half. Yeah, but they knocked on, they threw away, they gave bad passes. Then counter-attacks. When Impala made the counter-attacks, we didn't have cover. Yeah, but however, they had a good second half, but it was a bit too late. No, it's just to cut out the errors. Yeah, it's the error rate that is really costing us. Yeah, because if you are giving passes off target and you're knocking on ball unnecessarily, yeah, it's really not going to help us much.
No, the scores were 7-7, so obviously there was no killing anywhere in that first half. I thought we were pretty average in the sense that we didn't convert our opportunities. Blood held very well, to be fair to them, on the set piece. And they also had some chances, and we were lucky that they didn't convert them. But I think we settled a bit more in the second half. We consolidated our play a bit more, and then the chances came. And what was really good to see, especially from the backs, was the interplay, because we scored a lot of tries from the line breaks and interplay, and we didn't have that with the earlier game. I think we're a bit more clinical, so we took our chances. In the last the two tries that Blood scored them at the end there, and those was simply two missed tackles from one player, and they scored. So we were pretty solid in the first half. We defended well. One-on-one tackles were good. So when that one player missed the tackles, then Blood got their chance. So I think that's what worked for us today. Obviously, this week has been difficult. To get the 2 wins has been very good. This coming weekend, we stay away from rugby and say farewell to our player. It will also be difficult for our women's team because he was coaching. Sidindi was coaching our women's team, if you remember the incident. And then this Sunday, the women's team has to defend the sevens tournament without Sidindi being there. So I think we did it for him by the 2 wins, and hopefully we'll give him a respectable farewell.
Right, Coach Osir, echoing what you said about the team playing for Richard and making sure that they did it for him.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, the tank is talking about errors.
Yeah, he's been talking about that for quite a while.
Yeah.
I don't know how comes they're not sorting it out.
Yeah.
And for a team like theirs, especially if you're disadvantaged in terms of experience within your players, you've got to get the basics really right.
Yeah.
And he's been talking about the errors for a very long time. I don't know why they're not sorting it out. Of course, being where they are, there's only very little they can do in terms of...
The 10th currently.
Yes, it's a slippery position to be in. Given because it's a university side, you get a lot of transition.
Yeah.
So players don't stay for more than 4 years. So what you need to do is really sharpen your basic skills, because that's what is going to string you a win here and there. If not, then of course teams who have stayed longer with their players are going to take you to the cleaners.
It's a bit sad this late in the season we're still talking about handling errors and passes not going to hand. Because these are the things you do when you come early for training. When you walk into training, you come in early before the coach comes in. These are the basics that you need to work on, because without the ball, you can't really do anything.
And given that they're uni students anyway, there isn't much they're doing
well
in the evenings. Yes, but yeah. I think they have a lot of time in their hands. Yeah. Yeah, as opposed to other guys who've got to go to work and even go to school and go to other clubs. Because they're within the uni, they should be able to do a lot more. But again, you never know what really is ailing them. You never know what the reason for them not doing that, those extras.
And you see, it's unfortunate for them because, like we've mentioned before, they're one of the teams that they really give a fight. They rarely just lie down and they're thrashed completely. They're one of the university sides that actually give up a fight, and it's rather unfortunate that this fight is not translating into wins because of simple things
like 9th loss,
like handling errors and things like that. Because all said and done, it doesn't matter how much of a fight you give. If it doesn't translate into points, then it doesn't make sense.
It's just going to be a lot more difficult now at the bottom of the relegation stage. Yeah, there's competitions of at all levels in this Kenya Cup.
The higher levels.
There's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. And then the rest.
Yes.
The rest. All right, let's go to the next game, which was a tight one. Nondes against Homeboyz. 17-6. Very, very tight game.
Wasn't it closer?
It was 17-16.
17-16, sorry.
Yes,
I said 6.
Yes, yes.
17-16 is what I meant.
It was a lot closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, 17-16.
So yeah, it was definitely a good win for Nondes.
Yeah.
And given that they're playing their nemesis, who they also train in the same grounds.
Yeah.
That was an important one for them as well.
Yes,
very,
it was.
very important,
Yeah.
because had they been beaten by Homeboyz, Homeboyz were going to climb, and Nondes were going to drop a little. So it was very important for them to get that win.
Like a tenant beating a landlord. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Looking at this game, when Homeboyz started off strong, when they scored the first try, I thought this was the weekend that they're going to finally pull it back. Because there was the option of taking the quick tap on the penalty. That can be 50-50. If it works for you, perfect. If it doesn't work, then it can come back and bite you. But luckily for them, they had the try. But Nondes came back strong, and one thing that has really worked well for Nondes throughout the season is their forward play. Their pick and drive, pick and drive, pick and drive. Actually, they scored 2 tries from the pick and drive. Yeah. And the other thing that I'd like to highlight about Nondes and their set piece is, if you look at this particular game, they won it in the last minute of the game. It was actually past 80 minutes. They got a penalty, and they chose to go for touch to contest the lineout. Lineout has been one of the things that has really worked well for Nondes. And you see, that gives you, if you're confident in your set piece, you have the luxury of that deep into the game to go for territory. If the reverse was true and you're not sure with your throws, there would have been the temptation of taking the quick tap, and who knows what would have happened. But all credit to them, they stuck it out, went for the lineout, they secured the ball and try at the corner, and as you can see, it was well-deserved celebrations for Nondes. Very good win for them. That means they've beaten Homeboyz home and on both legs.
Both legs, yeah.
Chapati which is very unfortunate for Homeboyz, because as we started the season, they're the team that we thought was going to really blossom, because they've got a good set of players who've been together for very long. So that kind of a win, definitely. And now relegating them into a
are we seeing them missing the playoff spot?
It's more likely.
It's the thing about Homeboyz, and I've been saying it throughout. Homeboyz is one of the few teams that, if you look at the tries they've scored, apart from the pushover try that they had in this particular game, it has been individual brilliance. A big run here, a big run there. There's nothing.
Yes, they've not played as a team this season.
There's nothing really constructed. And if you look at what Nondes did in this particular game, they identified the key players for Homeboyz. You have Jeff Oluoch on the wing, and they shut them out. And this is my beef with Jeff Oluoch. You're an experienced player. You cannot have Homeboyz running the ball down the line, then you just run and you're shoved into touch. That's unacceptable, because you lose momentum.
That's criminal.
So I mean, those are some of the things that Homeboyz need to do if they're to scrape through that playoff position. I realized also Coach Simon had a bit of changes in the position, because he played Augustin Lugonzo at number 9, and he played Mohamed Omol at 15. Traditionally,
a couple of changes actually.
Traditionally, it would be the other way around.
So hoping to get a bit more enterprising play from Agat at number 9. But personally, I still prefer Mohat playing at number 9, because that's where he even plays for the Simbas. But I think on the day, they gave a good account of themselves, but Nondes just had the confidence to carry it through. They trusted their set piece, and it showed at the end of 80 minutes.
Nondes is one of these teams that has been improving week after week, They've had slip-ups, and they lost in between when after having a good winning streak. When they lost that game, they had a bit of a slip-up. But you can tell that the development, every week there's something new that they're coming with that is making them a better squad. So kudos to their coaches, Benyambu and
they're fourth now.
And Fox. Yes.
That's
the point adrift of Harlequins. So they're doing quite well, and it's good to see that a team like Nondes, who were only rebuilding last season, are able to come up as quickly and get to that position.
Speaking with their coach earlier this week, one of the things he mentioned that they really worked on is their fitness levels. Because if you look at Nondes traditionally, teams used to run over them in the second part of the second half, meaning from the 60th minute going forward. But they've actually put in a lot of effort in their conditioning and in their fitness. That's why even towards the end of the game, they're still able to push and actually win the game in the dying minutes of the game. This was not the traditional Nondes that we used to know. We just know Nondes hold them in the first half, the second half, they fall off.
Yeah.
They let off, but they're actually doing quite well, fighting it out till the very end. And it's not surprised that they are where they are at the top, at the log.
Yeah, it's a really, really good place for them to be right now.
Yes, super place, yes.
So we are going to move on to Mamba, but there's Harlequins. Please don't fight.
No. This is not soccer. This is
this is a gentleman's game.
I don't want blood here. No.
It's for me. It was one of those games you come into and you know you're going to have a good challenge. Given that Mamba has had a perfect run in the last 4 games, I think. So it is one of those games you come in as a coach and think, what am I going to do different in this game? And given that they didn't have too many mistakes, they don't. In the previous 4 games, they haven't been making too many mistakes. It was very difficult in the approach.
Yeah.
The ref was quite amusing on the day.
Okay.
As Scrum was a bit too strong for the Mamba one, and twice we shoved them over, and the ball was loose at the back. And the scrum had broken, and the ref allowed them to play and score. They actually scored 2 tries of such. So that was an era of comedies as well. So other than it being quite a serious game, there was a lot to laugh about. Of course, at that time, nobody thought it was amusing from my bench and
you're not
and
happy
our
about
fans,
that.
but it was quite amusing. Nonetheless, it was a good weekend. I think for Harlequins, it was good to rise from the mishap with Blackblad also. And coming against a strong team like Mamba and being able to get that bonus point was important.
But you beat them on the first leg.
Yes, but they've really improved in the last few games.
Yeah.
Like I said, you know, 4 games previous to how when we played them, they're doing quite well. So they're not a pushover side.
Yeah.
For Mamba, I think where we are at the moment, we have I think a couple of very difficult fixtures coming up because we played Nakuru away and we lost that game. We've played Kenya Harlequins. The next 2 Kenya Cup fixtures are between Homeboyz and KCB. So Mamba in a very tough spot.
Yeah.
And all I can say is we need to win at least one of these games, because if we lose 2 games, we'll find ourselves in a very interesting position in the table.
Yeah, because we have 33 points now.
Yes, same as Homeboyz.
Same as Homeboyz.
So if we lose to them, automatically they go over us and we drop down out of the playoff spot. So it's a very interesting position Mamba in. But like they've shown,
they're wounded now.
They have the capability, and based on Homeboyz' recent results, they're sort of like low-hanging fruit. But you know what?
We have the same points as Nakuru.
As Nakuru, yes. Then there's Homeboyz after.
Yeah.
So you see, a loss to Homeboyz means Nakuru, depending on how their game goes, they could push us down the table. So for Mamba, it's a very interesting 3 weeks up ahead. I know there's a bit of a break in the Kenya Cup this week.
Yeah.
But that could be a good momentum to plan for the next Kenya Cup fixtures, because it is very important in the bigger scheme of things.
Yeah, but Queens are okay at 3rd.
No, we're not okay.
You can never.
We're only 1 point adrift. We're only 1 point adrift from the 4th, which is Nondes. If any other slip up, they'll go back up there. Yeah. And you now know that with the playoffs, the higher you are in the table, the better it is for you for the fixture. Because as it stands now, actually, Queens plays if the table ends up like this, Queens plays Nondes in the playoffs, the first game of the playoffs. Yeah. So no, is it? No, it's 3 and 6, right? It's
3 and 6.
3 and 6. Yes, Queens plays Mamba again.
Exactly.
If it ends up like this, but you see, it just gives you an advantage theoretically that if you're at the top, then you play the guy at the bottom.
Yeah.
Especially in the pre-semis. So we are hoping that we keep that, because now the other 2 are too far to chase, because we are well over 12 points adrift, and there isn't as many matches to catch up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if we play the next 2 and get bonus points, and assuming that they don't move anywhere, we still can't get there.
Yeah, KCB beat Menengai Oilers in Nakuru 2029. Yeah.
2029. You remember what we're talking about? What we're talking about Oilers?
Yes.
Initially, because KCB, given where they stand on the table, you'd think KCB would have
an easy time.
But 9 points
not so
in between them. No, that's not as big, and that's what shows you about the Menengai Oilers. It's a very good squad led by a very good coach as well. So into the next season, we're definitely going to see a well polished outfit from the Menengai.
I mean, they've done well for themselves, seeing that it's their first season in the Kenya Cup.
Yeah.
So definitely something to build on. They'll have more experience going forward. So I mean, good win for them. Just unfortunate that they didn't finish within 7. But against KCB, if you can lose by 9 points,
that's pretty decent.
It's decent. For your first season in the Kenya Cup, it's very decent.
Yeah. I'd like to know what Curtis thought of the performance. I'm sure
it's a win. I mean,
I'm sure he wasn't happy. No, Curtis doesn't win. Curtis doesn't win 9 points against Menengai Oilers.
Curtis is a perfectionist. For him, he looks farther way ahead of the scores of the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that bounce doesn't come for free.
Yeah.
That bounce comes. It comes for something.
Yes.
It comes for something.
All right. Cabras leaders. Cabras, they beat Mean Machine 22-41.
It's expected for them to win. What was shocking, however, is Machine putting 22 points past them.
Yes.
2 ways you can think about it.
Actually, at some point, Mean Machine were leading in this game.
Yes.
15-12.
Yes, they were for quite a while.
Yeah. 2
things. Cabras have been breached, so everybody thinks they can have a go. and 2, it is actually Machine who put in a very good fight. I didn't watch the match, but having played Machine earlier, I think they're a very good side first half, running the ball helter-skelter, big tackles and everything, and they've got a good fan base to follow up, but they just never know how to cool it down and win a match.
Yeah.
So that is what really bogged them down. So I think Cabras waited for their fire to die down, their moto ya karatasi to die down, and then they put some charcoal, put it on, and finish the business.
Machine can survive the chop.
Yeah.
It's very tough for Mean Machine at the moment. It's very, very tough. They started off well in the season, getting that scalp against the Leos, but I think from there they found the going a bit too tough. And you know, I really hope that Mean Machine change their philosophy about rugby, because when I watched Mean Machine play against Mamba, if you had what part of the technical bench was shouting from the touchline, they were not shouting instructions on how to win the game. They were shouting instructions on how to injure particular players.
That is a fun mentality.
So I mean, you have to shift how you think about the game in order for you to progress.
Because what if you don't injure the guy?
If you don't injure the guy, well,
what happens?
What else do you have to follow?
By injury, you do get a few points.
Yes, you get a few points. But I think just to come back to this particular game, I know Cabras made a few changes, because when I looked at their lineup, there's some of the players who are part of the second team and some of the players who are on the bench. They were given a start, so probably that's one of the reasons that maybe
they started slow,
shifted, and they started off slow. But I think at least it's a wake-up call for them on those areas that they were breached moving forward. But at least they are still at the top, home and dry for now.
No harm done yet.
It's their confidence has to be very worried now.
Yes.
They've got to be very worried about their confidence. That show against KCB, and whomever it is that they play now, they might not have very tough fixtures, but whomever it is that they play knows they can have a go. So it's going to be,
you know that.
It's not going to be a walk in the park anymore.
Yes.
All right, Strathmore Leos were beaten by Nakuru 33-18.
Well,
do you feel like Strathmore living on borrowed time now?
Definitely, very unfortunate. And again, we've said this before, they've got a brilliant coach, and just the fact that they've got to change players quite often too, that's a huge disadvantage to them. And this season has just not been for them. Anytime they look like they're raising their heads, they're being knocked back down into the ground. And that's because there's a lot more stakes in the Kenya Cup now. With the prize money as well, right? There's some prize money that was...
There is.
Yes,
Wait, Mamba.
When Mamba hears that, I think there's a bit of money in the prize money. And not only that, the game has really improved in the last couple of seasons. And You can see by the quality of players that teams are producing.
Yeah.
Even if it is not a whole team doing it, there's some really brilliant players within those teams that are not doing very well as a unit. So the stakes are a lot.
It's unfortunate now for Johnny that he's working with a relatively new squad.
Yeah.
And based on where they are at the table, if they don't pick up, if they don't pick up wins fast, they will be chopped.
They only have 2 wins to pick.
After
that, then there's no hope at all.
Well, sort of, but I'm interested to see a situation like I'm interested to see a situation, if I can borrow from football, a situation like Rafa Benitez with Newcastle, where you're relegated, but then you choose to go down with the team, build on it, and then come back a bit stronger.
That's the advantage he has.
Yes.
At Leo's, the players are pretty young. The unit gives a very good support. Mr. Paulo Cheng gives very good support to the team, and he ought not to be worried as much. And they ought not to be worried, because all it will take is for the whole unit to take those lessons they've learned, go back down, beat everyone, come back up, and join Kenya, and which means then when they come back, they will have known how difficult it is to play, because down there, kuna wenyewe. They just go waltzing around.
You find Catholic monks there waiting for you.
Monks, probably in the regalia.
Just waiting for you.
And those games being played at Ngong. At 2 p.m.
Very dusty field, and the sun has its cousins. Oh, there's chaos.
It's not like they're going there to have an easy time.
No, it's never easy. So the advantage he's got now is that if the very worst happens, that if they go down, he'll keep that squad.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty good players, actually.
Yeah, they are.
And knowing Johnny, if you give him a whole season playing in a lower league, he'll come back. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the Sevens.
Every now and then, they come to us with a bag of promises. New stadia, better perks for players, better games, and so forth. Now, we have a new pack in the scrimmage. Odur Gangla, Sasha Mutai, and Asiko Awiro.
In the KRU Decides election debate.
7th of March, starting 7:30 p.m. on Bamba Sport. Are these the right men for the KRU office? Are these the men who will take Kenya to the elusive 15s Rugby World Cup? Send your questions and concerns before the 6th of March and we'll include them in the debate. Have the final say. Email
KRU Decides at radioafricagroup.co.ke. That's KRU Decides at radioafricagroup.co.ke.
Send them now, then tune in to witness the debate. Scrummage 2019 live on Bamba Sport, Bamba TV, Channel 6.
Welcome back. You're watching Try Time now. Let's go to the sevens. Remember we asked how you think the Shujaa Sevens will fare in Canada this weekend. And Bob, I'm going to read your comment because it's funny. You said that they will not fare at all.
Did you understand the question?
Yeah. How do you think the boys will fare? They will not fare at all.
Okay.
I think we know what he means.
Yes.
So let's talk about the Las Vegas Sevens, first of all.
Yep.
First game, Kenya played with USA, 10-26.
That was a pretty decent score.
It was.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent score. And from that score...
Comparing what they did at Sydney.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not only that, you'd see the trajectory in terms of performance. That in that game, not only are we looking alive, but we seem to have an idea of what we want to do. And I think the inclusion of one or two other players that haven't been there has really helped. We have ball carriers now. Bushmal is doing quite well. Cyprian is becoming a very good leader in the team. So these scores are probably going to, the gaps are probably going to be smaller. Yeah. Maybe even if not in Vancouver, but in the last 4 tournaments, we'll see a far better team. And we discussed it last week, that all we need to do is once we get the Challenge Trophy, we must make sure that we beat whoever it is that is ahead of us. And we maintain getting into that semi-finals or the finals of Challenge Trophy. And that happened. So after day 1, on the day 2, we won 2 games on a trot. That was really good.
When I look at this set of results, obviously against the US, it's always going to be tough because the US are the top and it's their home tournament. So I think 26-10 is a pretty decent. And if you look at how we played, you know, there's that game you lose, you don't even try. But there's a game you really put your effort in. You fight. But obviously putting that much effort in the first game and not picking up against France means that we lost by a huge margin. Now the game against Argentina and Japan really impressed me because for Japan, they are the team that we are hoping at the bottom don't catch up with us. So it was good to get a win over them. And then versus Argentina is a team that's above us on the log. So that was a good win. The only disappointment I had is against Spain who seemed to have bullied us in the contact area.
Which was never an issue.
Yes, which was never an issue before. I hope we would have played Spain a bit differently because if you look at them loading in the contact area in the first few minutes,
play the ball far away from that.
Play the ball away from the contact because we lost a lot of possession in that particular game. Now, if I'm also note another thing, when I looked at the performance tracker after the end of the tournament, I saw one of our players featuring.
Exactly. Actually, my next question was which individual player stood out for you?
Let me say this.
Yeah.
It's all well and good that Daniel Tabo featured in the performance tracker, but in my opinion, he featured in the wrong category because he featured in most ball carries.
Carries, which is somebody else's department.
Yes, he's one of the smallest players in the team.
Yeah.
So either he's been given a game plan and he's not following it, or
I think he just decided
what's in front of him.
Yeah, he decided to save the world, and sometimes you need players like that. I think
it means if Tabo is carrying the ball more than your regular ball carriers, he'll compromise on one or two things that he's supposed to do. His strengths. And you see what teams do when they notice that you're a quote-unquote smaller player who's carrying the ball a bit more, they can target you. And once they target you,
they bully you and snatch the ball.
We know what happens. So it's all well and good that we appeared in the performance tracker, but I was hoping that he would have appeared maybe in another category. But you know what? Where we are as Kenya, we just pick the small wins.
We're taking anything.
We'll take anything.
We'll take anything and we go with it.
If Bushmole becomes the best ball player
Well and
that's
good.
fine.
If he's picked as the best dancer on the day, that's okay.
It's also something.
Yeah,
Well, provided we are best at something.
But
Yeah.
one thing Benja has said that I'd like to echo is the maturity that Cyprian Kuto has shown in this particular tournament. Because he's one of the players who actually, once he is with the ball, you can see that he knows and he understands the game of rugby.
Yeah.
And there's some tries that he scored that's agility, just that extra stretch, or just that's something special.
Yeah.
So Cyprian Kuto inclusion is definitely a good plus. It's only unfortunate that I think Brian Wandero got injured, and
Brian is back home
and
now,
he's back
so.
home, replaced by Shadon Munoko from Mean Machine.
Mean Machine,
Yes.
yeah.
That on his debut tournament.
It is. Yeah.
So I mean, I hope
big for him,
he's carrying an extra set of lungs.
Yeah.
Either that
Big
or
for him.
the fans that usually scream for him on the side.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
He
he's
should
able.
have carried the fans.
He should have carried the Mean Machine fans.
Yeah.
I'm not
to
sure they would
carry
have been given a visa. They're such hecklers.
I know.
They would have been heckling
Comrades.
at the whatever.
Yeah, comrade power.
Comrades.
Yeah, I see Kuto is one of the bets for me that is going to strengthen the team, even as things are difficult. He's been in the setup before. He's been plagued with injuries, and sometimes he's not made it because people in his position have been a little better than him. So this is his time to show who he can be.
Yeah.
And he's doing it quite well. I pretty like how he's carrying himself. He's becoming the leader that he ought to have been.
Yeah.
And extra addition to the team is obviously
It's a plus.
Olindi coming in to Vancouver leg.
And you know, his electricity.
Yeah, so he has a bit more options in the ball playing department. So
Only
definitely
if his ball carriers can hang around him and carry the ball a little more.
yes.
Yeah.
Because Olindi is a brilliant player. I wish that in my day I played with a guy like that, because he finds a gap. Lavid used to find them quite as well. But Olindi is a brilliant player who does it every single time. And with ball carriers like Bushwell in the squad, Brian Ondera there, of course Brian is not in this trip, they should be able to want to be stars, seriously.
Yeah.
You just run alongside him, let him break the half gap, give you the ball, and you look good.
He'll be a superstar.
So, yeah, I wish the ball carriers now read how he's playing, because if anybody runs off him, you're definitely breaking second lines of defense.
Yeah.
And once you do that, then, of course, the tries are going to come.
Let's have a look at the table and see where we are standing. Yeah.
Currently number 13.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
is
obviously
17 points.
17 points.
Yeah.
13 adrift from Wales.
No, Wales were within 4 points.
4, yeah.
They are 4 points.
And
four
then
points.
5 from Japan.
And then 10 to France. These French guys, you should beat them again and
definitely.
again.
We should.
Yeah, Canada.
So
you see, the importance of getting to a loose semi in the beginning of the season. Look at where Spain are, seriously.
Yeah.
And this is just because they made one semi-final.
Yes, in Sydney.
Yes. And you strive to do those things early. It's not too bad, but 5 points.
It's not too bad.
5 points from the relegation, whatever, is not safe.
Looking at the log and looking at the pool we are in Vancouver,
How are we avoiding relegation?
we play against Canada, who are it's their home tournament.
Home tournament.
So that's going to be a difficult game.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can use that to your advantage, because they know they are at home. They know
They're
it's
too
Kenya.
much pressure.
So they're under pressure, and they can also be a bit relaxed. So that's a good opportunity to pick a win from them.
Yeah.
The other teams that we have, I think it's Samoa and Fiji.
Fiji, yes.
Those are pretty tough games, because Samoa did very well in Las Vegas, finishing second. And you know, as we say, Fiji is Fiji in the sevens.
Yes.
So definitely, I think the first game against Fiji, expect the unexpected, because Fiji go against all basics of sevens rugby, and they do what they want.
They can put the ball under the ground and it will come out from the other end.
Yeah.
You wonder how that is done.
You're told not to pass like that. That's what exactly Fiji do. So I guess Fiji, I think for the boys, they should use that game to come out of their shells. Just use that game as a how do I call it? Yani kufungua mwili, you know.
Yeah.
Try everything that you want to try in that particular game.
The important thing is that,
in that
if on this day one we play with our hearts, on this day one, come day two,
We have some more.
even in the challenge trophy, get to the final of that challenge trophy, hoping that Japan does poorly again, then that's when we get. Because right now it is every single point gain is very important for us.
Yes.
So this kind of a pool for me works very well because it conditions you to.
This encourages you. This
yes,
pool.
yes, completely. Because these are tough. These are tough teams.
Yeah.
If you do go through these tough teams, even with the small margin losses, just being very honest.
Yeah.
Getting to that, or even claiming one scalp there, getting to the day 2, we shouldn't be struggling with anybody who gets to the ball competition.
So what are your predictions for each game? Let's go by game 1, game 2, game 3.
For me, before I say my predictions, one thing I'd like to, if I was Coach Pau, the first game against Fiji, I'd tell them, you can take a chance in the contact, attack the contact area.
Yes.
Because Fiji like to pop the ball a lot. So if you get into that popping culture of Fiji, you will not beat them at the game.
Never beat them at the game.
Now the reverse against Samoa is true because Samoa is a very physical side. You want to avoid the contact area as much as possible. Canada have big ball carriers, but they're not as fast. But remember, it's their home tournament.
Yeah.
So for Canada, spread the ball out wide, try create those mismatches, have the captain OJ on the wing running against his winger, and you have a chance. Now, in terms of predictions, based on the first tournaments, against Fiji, it's going to be hard. Against Samoa, it will be very close. And against Canada, I think we can beat Canada. Those are my predictions.
Benja, your predictions?
It's going to be a tough call. I actually think we have a better scalp in Samoa than it is Canada. But again, Samoa's tails are up. They have got a coach who's a very seasoned coach, and they don't want to lose against Kenya. That also could be the disadvantage. Yes, and given that we have our slicer who's going there to save the world, we should be able. But I think we have a very good chance of claiming the Samoa scalp. Canada might be a bit too confident in their place. These guys go crazy.
Because they're home.
Yes, and Fiji, of course. Fiji can be very complacent sometimes, very complacent. You'll be shocked at how complacent they can be. It might just be that they didn't make the finals in the Vegas, and on the first game they play Kenya, they let go of the game. It could happen because it's happened in the past.
But what you need to do as Kenya is be switched on. If those opportunities present themselves,
go and do
you
it.
need to take them.
Yes.
Cold weather or not, you have to be ready for anything. Cold weather or not.
It gets pretty cold,
in Canada.
Yes, it does.
It gets pretty cold.
And you know, from where we are, we don't do very well in the cold.
We are solar powered.
We are solar powered.
When the sun is not up, the batteries are not charged.
When you look outside, you look for the sun. If it's not there,
it's a problem.
You come back into the blanket.
All right. So now, unfortunately, we have to wind up. Our producers want us to go home. So
just when it was getting interesting.
Imagine, But thank you so much, guys, for coming.
Asante sana.
It's been a pleasure. I'm going home happier. So
don't worry, if you were given more time, you'd have even been more happier. So it's fine.
Thank you. Shukran. And thank you so much for everyone who was watching. Until next week, have yourself a lovely night.